Hello, this is an overview of turning in everything related to the community service project. So we are in the middle of the submissions for the portfolio materials and also in the middle of our presentations. So with the community service project, we discussed in class that there are many pieces that have to be submitted. One of the pieces you've already turned in is your presentation, as far as, what are you actually going to present, what are your slides, and those were due last week earlier. On Thursday, yesterday, we had our main portfolio pieces due. So this included the evidence of each student's service. This should be the signed form where the organization signed confirming your hours, and they either stamped or gave you a business card to go along with the form. Then the second thing that was due was the copy of your creative work, and you were asked to turn it on Blackboard. If your creative work was something that was physical, such as a model or a game, you would want to submit a written submission that explains what your creative work was. This allows me to make sure that I fully understand what you were utilizing, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. The third thing was your reference list. We did cover reference lists in class last week. And so one of the things you'll want to do is you would want to create a reference list if you have not already, and submit it focusing on the sources that were used in your presentation. And then the last piece of the portfolio that was due was the team charter. The team charter was a document we completed earlier in the semester in class, where you set up who was responsible for what parts of the project, and then also agreed to certain social behaviors. So if someone does not do their work, what will happen? These you turned in to me, and I gave back to you with feedback. These should have been typed, printed, signed by everyone in your group, and a scanned copy should be uploaded up to Blackboard. So all of these pieces were due on Thursday. Coming up due next week on Monday, right after the holiday, we have the final two pieces of your portfolio. I've spaced it out in order to give you a little more time to finish putting things together. So in your presentation, you have used many sources. Some of them were pictures, some of them were books, maybe websites, maybe encyclopedias. So for all the sources that were used in your PowerPoint, you should have given them in your reference list, a full citation, not the in-text version. And please do remember that photos have one format used for in-text and a different one used on the reference list. This is also true for normal sources. So for example, in-text citation in the PowerPoint for a book would be author name, year. Whereas in a reference list, you would have a lot more information. So your reference list has those full citations, usually that include a URL if your source is found online. So for your presentation, you would have had your sources in there. You would have included their full citations in your reference list. And then on Monday, what is due are two pieces that are related to that. So for every source that was in your presentation that would have been cited in your reference list, you need to provide a copy of the source. So what this means is submitting a PDF of whatever your source was. A PDF of the website, or a PDF of the encyclopedia article online, maybe a PDF of the journal article, or if you used a book, a scanned PDF version of the pages in the book with the title and everything. Along with that, what is due is the evaluation sheet for each source. Luckily, each of you should already have these pretty much done, because they also qualify for your individual research grades that we've been slowly working on throughout the semester. You have already submitted one of these in a previous week before spring break, and another one is due coming up, allowing you to kind of focus on the sources that were used in your part of the PowerPoint. So when you turn these in, all the things in the portfolio need to be submitted by just one person in your group. So one person is going to submit all of the copies of the sources or all of the evaluation sheets. So that will require each of you to kind of coordinate with who's going to submit it, getting everyone to send you their stuff, which I know can be a challenge, but I know you're very capable of it. So all of those pieces are due by Monday. So on Monday, what we will see happen is that all submissions will close. So all of your stuff needs to be submitted on time, and then you will see the link to submit disappear on Blackboard. Unfortunately, we have to keep a tight deadline on this one due to the end of the semester closely approaching. On Tuesday, after everyone has presented, what is due is the self and group member evaluation. This is done by each student, so each of you will do this after you have presented. If you have already presented last week, go ahead and start completing these. The self-evaluation and group member evaluation, there are rubrics to kind of tell you what the expectations are, but in general, please provide thorough explanations as to what each person did in the project and also what you have done and why you think they earn particular grades. Once you look at the forms themselves, it will make sense. So let's review where to submit things on Blackboard. So this is one of my sections on Blackboard. In all of your Blackboard groups, there is a tab called Groups. And what you're going to do is you're going to come into the Groups tab, and you're going to find the name of your group here. Normally, you should just see your group's name. Now, when you go into your group, one of the things you'll want to make sure of is that everyone is listed up top. The one challenge that can happen is if someone is missing from your group still on Blackboard, or maybe your group has changed a little bit, and you submit the stuff, it will not be submitted for everyone if your names are not all here. Your assignment submissions are down here, where you find links for all these pieces. So these links will disappear after Monday. So you need to make sure that you have all of your materials turned in by then. Materials that are considered late because they were submitted after the fact will receive penalties for being late. But after Monday, nothing will be accepted. So that is where to turn in all the portfolio pieces. Now, if you are ready to submit your self and group evaluation, you will come into the assessment folder. And then in this folder, it may be slightly different for your particular section, but there should be a Unit 2 Community Service folder. And you're going to find the self and member evaluation sheets. So here they've developed a sheet that you can give some feedback about each person in your team. Now, one thing you'll notice is that you write everyone's names. Please make sure to include names that help me discern between girls. So if there are two Elias in your group, please include their father's name or their last name in order to help me distinguish which person is what. And then it says, for example, question 1, the group member delivered their part of the presentation effectively, and so on. And then you have to say, to what degree do you agree with this? So if the person really did great, we would give them an A. If they really did horrible or they didn't even show up, we would give them a D. And so the way this works is actually there's a drop-down box. So you can click what grade they deserve. And then at the end, question 6 is what grade do you feel this group member deserves for their work on the project? And you actually assign them where you think they should be. And then you'll want to answer these two questions in great detail. What specific tasks did they do, and why do they deserve the grade you gave them in question 6? So with this assignment, what I suggest you do before you start filling out is actually download it on your computer, on your desktop. Okay? And then, without that open, you want to go and open it outside of your browser. Okay, so it's just now on my computer. The reason for doing this, if you do it in the browser, then you try and save it and then upload it, you're going to find that your information will not save. So what I would want to do is type in all my information, and then I would want to choose to save it as a PDF. And then let's say I'd enter in OK, that's what I'm going to save it as. And then once I go back to Blackboard to submit, so let's say you were submitting. Okay, so we'd browse my computer. Okay, I'm going to upload this. It's there. Submit. Okay, it's telling me it's not saved. There might be an issue with it. But once you submit and your file goes up, you want to make sure that the words are there. So double check your submission. Otherwise, you're going to have issues with your grading. So that is an overview of the different pieces that are coming up or have actually passed their due date. I've seen almost everyone has their materials in, which I greatly appreciate, and I look forward to reading all of them. If you have questions about the submission requirements, please let me know. And remember that the deadline to submit these pieces is coming up. All of your portfolio pieces must be submitted by Monday, and then your group and self-evaluation will be due on Tuesday.